What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell along with my co-host Glenn Martin. And we're excited to continue the conversation when it comes to the evolution of the passing game. Lamar Jackson as a passer. And we're going to do so by taking a look back at some decisions that other players have made when it comes to playing with Lamar Jackson, how it's turned out for them. This is going to be an exciting one. But before we get into it, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support the channel and the easiest way to stay up with all your Ravens content. Also, give us a like if you enjoy the video. And, of course, leave all your comments below. Based on the video, we love interacting with you guys. But really, Glenn, what this video is about is the narrative that some people want to play with Lamar Jackson, some people don't want to play with Lamar Jackson, this, that, and the other. And we saw some things play out in the offseason, and some guys make some comments, some guys not make some comments, but certainly, behind closed doors, we're sure that those conversations were had. So what we're going to do here, and I'm excited to hear from you, is about how those decisions have turned out for those players. So let's take a step back, and who are we going to be talking about here specifically?
Yeah, so in the offseason, the Ravens fans were really hopeful that the organization would go out and target some of these free agent receivers to add some more weapons around Lamar Jackson to hopefully get the passing attack to a more efficient level like it was back in 2019 after a dip in production in 2020. And, some of those names I'm sure you all remember. Kenny Galladay was being one of them, who signed a massive deal with the New York Giants to take over the number one passing catching duties for them. And then the other two reportedly turned down more money, had visits to Baltimore and turned down more money from the Ravens to return to their former teams. And those two players are, of course, T.Y. Hilton and Juju Smith-Schuster, both in which reportedly turned down more money because they felt that the scheme and their opportunity was better to return to their former team rather than come here to Baltimore. So we wanted to get into that and kind of review, where are they now? What kind of seasons are those guys having? So I want to start, Jimbo, if that's okay, with Kenny Galladay, because he was the highest paid of all the free agent wide receivers.
72 million, wasn't that what his deal was? Like 18 annually?
Yeah, 18 a year. And he was the guy that a lot of Ravens fans said was the missing piece. He's the big target receiver that, can go up and win some 50-50 balls. So I want to look and see where he's at now and if he made the correct decision. At least right now, it's only 4 games in, just under a quarter of the season.
So just to back up here, essentially what he did was he chose Danny Dimes over Lamar Jackson. Like, if you boil it down, you boil all of it down. Who's throwing you the football is most important. We've learned that from Gronkowski. He said, I'm playing with Tom Brady or I'm retiring. That's it.
That's it.
Right? Gronkowski's not known for being the brightest light bulb, but certainly that's a great move on his point, on his end, right?
Yeah.
So he said, I'll take Danny Dimes over Lamar Jackson. So let's see how this is turning out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I guess for some context, I'm also going to provide some statistics from the guys who are here in Baltimore, and some not just the guy who was already here in Marquis Brown, but also the one free agent that decided he would come here and sign with the Ravens, and that's, of course, Sammy Watkins. But getting back to Kenny Galladay and what he's done so far, and look, he's got some catches this year. So far in the season, he's got 17 receptions on 26 targets for 282 yards and has yet to find the end zone. So in 4 games, averaging just barely over 4 catches a game, has yet to find the end zone, and again has 282 yards through those 4 games. So just in comparison, so we all know, Marquis Brown, the Ravens' right now number 1 receiver, at least production-wise, has 19 catches on the season, so 2 more than Galladay. On 28 targets, also 2 more than Galladay. For 326 yards, so about 50 or 40, 44 more yards than Kenny Galladay. And most importantly, 3 touchdowns, which of course is 3 more than the 0 that Kenny Galladay has. So if your hope was opportunity, if your hope was amount of targets, if your hope was success in getting in the end zone, it looks like Kenny Galladay made the wrong choice. But I don't necessarily know if Kenny Galladay was ever really in the plans for the Baltimore Ravens, Jimbo, because at $18 million per, was there any chance the Ravens would have even come close to that kind of an offer?
Yeah, no, at this point, he's basically $1 million per reception, right? Just about.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
far.
No, Eric DeCosta, every dollar counts to me is about value. Eric DeCosta finds value. And so I think that's a great reference point you bring up in Sammy Watkins, because comparatively speaking, we're paying what, Sammy, $5 million this year?
Was it 5? Okay. Yeah, at most. I think it may have even been less than that in that I think he had to get to 5 to get to incentives.
But let's do this really quickly. There's a guy on the Ravens roster that is getting almost, I mean, not as much as Galladay, but almost as much as Galladay, right? And
Who's
that is
that?
Mark Andrews,
Good point.
right? Our Mark Andrews is making big money now, right? Mark Andrews, of course, unfortunately, this year, just do a comparison, has not found the end zone either. Historically speaking, we know that will change. But he's got 18 receptions, 253 yards. So very comparative to a Galladay there. But he's a tight end, guys. He's a tight end. I mean, I just think this is crazy. Now, what about Sammy Watkins?
Yeah, and Sammy Watkins, 16 catches so far this year on 29 targets. So one less catch, but a few more targets, and 257 yards as the number 2 receiver. So as the number 2 receiver in Baltimore, he has more targets than Kenny Galladay. But again, Kenny Galladay was never really going to be here in Baltimore because of his cap number. So let's get to the guys who specifically burned the Ravens, deciding to go back to their former team. So I'll start with T.Y. because it's a pretty quick summary of his season so far. Zeros across the board because he is in fact injured and on the IR. And I find that to be hilarious because, a lot of pundits, a lot of analysts, and some fans even were hoping we would get T.Y. Hilton because they felt that Sammy Watkins was the often injured and less productive version of T.Y. Hilton. Well, throughout thus far this season, Watkins has played in every single game, and T.Y. Hilton has yet to take the field. And T.Y. Hilton made more money and had a bigger contract than Sammy Watkins. So that's awfully interesting, right? I mean, fans wanted him. They said T.Y. he burned the Ravens going back. He didn't burn the Ravens. The Ravens are better off without T.Y. Hilton. And we knew that going into this season that he was going to struggle to stay on the field because he's done it all his career.
Yeah, 2 letters T.Y., 2 letters IR, right? Like, that's just as simple as it is. And at the end of the day, even if it was healthy, he chose. Carson went, look, you chose, right? Like, you chose. That's what I love when people talk about the situations that they're in life, right? At the end of the day, 9 out of 10 times, sure, there are situations that you can't control, but 9 out of 10 times, you chose. You got exactly what you chose, right? You chose Carson Wentz over Lamar Jackson. That's what it was at the end of the day. Now, yeah, he's on the IR, and like you said, it is funny that people considered Sammy Watkins to be the liability when it comes to health. And Sammy Watkins has been nothing but a consistent presence, throughout the season. He's been here every single game. So interesting how that all works out. But this next one, I'm really excited to get into. Really excited.
Yeah, I mean, everyone remembers Juju Smith-Schuster was linked to the Ravens. There were some players on the Ravens tweeting at him saying, come on over. And he ultimately decided to go back to Pittsburgh. And analysts and everyone was saying, well, of course. I mean, why would you want to leave Pittsburgh where they throw the ball basically more than anyone, go to a team who throws the ball less than everyone else, right? I mean, that was the consensus there, that he was making the right decision numbers-wise, right? He was going to rack up a bunch of catches, a bunch of yards, and a bunch of touchdowns playing in the Steelers, whereas if he came to Baltimore, he wouldn't get that same opportunity. Well, thus far on the season, Juju Smith-Schuster is 96th in the National Football League as a receiver with 15 catches thus far on the season. So
wait, say it again. What's his rank?
96th in the National Football League as a pass catcher. So he has 15 catches, which is 4 behind Marquis Brown and 1 behind our number 2 receiver, Sammy Watkins. On 27 targets, which is 1 less target than Marquis and 2 less than Sammy Watkins. And he has 129 whopping yards, a whopping 129 yards on the season, which is far less than the 326 from Marquis Brown and far less than the 257 we see from Sammy Watkins. And most importantly, of course, 0. That's right, folks. 0 touchdowns so far this season, which of course is 3 less than Marquis Brown. So he's got less targets, less receptions, far less yards, and obviously less touchdowns than both the guys that are going to be that are here in Baltimore. And I mean, I could not be happier with those results. I mean, I'm sure when I saw him folding his iPad on the sideline in frustration, it made me laugh because, look, Juju, you could have been in Baltimore. You could have been playing for a team that has a winning record, but instead you chose to play with a quarterback clearly past his prime, clearly done as a quarterback in the NFL. You chose to go back to that team, and this is the results. And I hope you're happy with your decision, Juju.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, that's the phrase of the show. You chose. You made your decision. You made your bed. Now you got to sleep in it. I mean, that is what it is at the end of the day. I love this one as well. I mean, I could watch over and over again that 3 to 4 second clip of him, throwing the iPad down, grabbing his face, looking like he's being brought to tears. But it's incredible to think the narrative is so ridiculous. It's so lazy. It's so superficial that it makes me laugh. It's like, guys, you are better than this. Take a second, look at the statistics, look at the trajectory of the quarterback, look at the evolution of the system, and realize the direction in which they're moving. Yeah, the Ravens, sure, the straw that stirs the cup is the run game. Okay, fine. But, JT Sullivan has said it before on the show, it's all about the harmony. And I love the way Marquis Brown has approached this. He talked about how he knew that going from Oklahoma to the Ravens, he was going to get less opportunities. He was readily cognizant of that, but he took it as a challenge to make the most of each one of his opportunities. And now if you really boil things down, he's getting more opportunities, more production, and obviously getting more wins than a person, Juju Smith-Schuster, who is supposed to be in the most wide receiver-friendly offense in the NFL. So the narrative is just ridiculous. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to play with Lamar Jackson if you're a wide receiver or play for the Ravens. I hate it. I think, like I said, I think it's lazy. I think it's cheap. I think it's extremely superficial. And I'm so glad that all that our receivers have done, all that this offense has done, is continue to prove, and Lamar, of course, is prove people wrong. That's really all we do here in Baltimore, right? And so I love it. I love taking a look at where these guys are now. There's even, I'm sure, some other secondary guys that are on the list that we could use, but these ones crack me up, and Juju most of all, because he dyed his hair blonde after going green, after going pink. He's obviously not the best at making decisions based on his hair color and his hairstyle. And he hasn't he's done nothing but reinforce my hypothesis on his decision-making prowess or lack thereof, based on the fact that he decided to stick with Ben Roethlisberger. And now they're calling for Haskins to play. So
that's a big problem, man. Yeah, if you're looking to bench your quarterback for either Haskins or Mason Rudolph, you are in big trouble, and they are going to be in the search for a quarterback. I think the search has already begun, but certainly going to be there in this offseason. So, it's hilarious to see these guys. Obviously, it's backfired, and we've seen this over the years of players deciding not to sign with the Ravens and deciding to go elsewhere. We saw it a few years ago when Gerald McCoy decided he didn't want to be a Raven. He wanted to go sign with the Carolina Panthers instead, believed more in Cam Newton than he did in Lamar Jackson. We'll see how that's gotten him. He's now suspended for performance-enhancing drugs and playing for the Raiders. We'll see how that goes from there. So over the years, players have made the decision to go elsewhere, and it rarely pays off. So hopefully in the future, if the Ravens decide to offer another pass-catching target a contract this upcoming offseason, they will learn from the mistakes of others and decide to come here and play with a team who can almost guarantee one-on-one coverage on the outside, because if you don't load the box to prevent the run, then it's going to be an even longer afternoon for you. So I agree. I don't understand why anyone would not want to come here when you're a guaranteed one-on-one island type coverage, because if you don't, the team will destroy you in the run game. You should be licking your chops as a pass catcher here, but instead they ran back to the more volume. I don't even know. I don't even what you want to call it, because the targets are there this year as well. So let us know what you guys think.
Really quickly, can I say one more thing? Sorry, I just want to say one more thing. You got me thinking about something. I don't agree with Chad Johnson on very much.
Okay.
But I totally agree with Chad Johnson on his mentality as a wide receiver. He always said it didn't matter where he went to college because he believed he was that dude. That he could have done it anywhere. He could have gone to any school. And he tells all these other guys, look, at the end of the day, if you are who you say you are, it doesn't matter. Right? You're going to ball out. It doesn't matter who's on the depth chart. It doesn't matter who's throwing this, that, and the other. So to me, it's the same thing. If you are who you say you are, if you are a true number one, if you are that dude, if you are a dog in any sense of the word, why would you want anything more, than one-on-one coverage? Why would you want anything more than the opportunity to show everyone that that you're going to beat the guy in front of you consistently? Even if you have less opportunities, it doesn't matter. You just throw the rock up and you're going to get it, right? It doesn't matter what the system is. You're going to prosper. So I totally agree with that. And I think it's weak for guys to say, well, I'm going to go to a volume-heavy offense or, a pass-heavy, volume-heavy. Okay, go ahead. Like, obviously, this is not working out. So, look, the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Good luck with it. But anyway, I just wanted to add that tidbit because it's cracking me up, man. These guys are – I don't get it. I don't get the narrative, Glenn. I won't, never have, never will.
No, I think we're both in the same boat there. But shout out to the Ravens for battling through all these incredible injuries that have hit the team, and shout out to Lamar Jackson for continuing to do what he does, growing, getting better, carrying this team in a lot of ways, and shout out to the offensive line for being resilient and picking up where some of those other guys left off when they went out with injury, and the coaching staff and the front office and everyone involved for getting this team to 3-1, despite leading the league in players on the IR, leading the league in money on the IR. I mean, it's not just players; it's contributors, big time contributors that are now forced out off the field, and yet the Ravens still just went into Denver, beat a 3-0 Denver team, and are 3-1 overall, beating a Chiefs team. I mean, just shout out to them in general. But let us know what you guys think. Is there anyone I missed? Am I off? Are we off in this in kind of pointing out the fact that some of these guys may have made the wrong decision in avoiding coming to Baltimore and choosing to go elsewhere? Let us know what you guys think, and we'll talk soon.